And welcome back to the Hotline, where we are looking at the shakedown for the WRC Chile. Well, before they did the shakedown, the teams did a bit of rowing, messing about on the water, messing about on the river. But very soon we need to get to the business end of the rally. And in relation to the shakedown, well, it was fairly interesting. Lappi fastest, Sesks second by 5.6, Pajari third, 6 seconds off, Pira fourth, Tanak fifth, and Evans sixth, 11.5 seconds down. Interesting, no Neuville. Yeah, Neuville very much not taking any risks. AJ needs to go for it though, and we have, yes, the Sesks Meister is back as well in Chile. So not only are we going to be talking about Lappi, as you can see here, we're also going to be talking about Mr. Ogier being somewhat gagged. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, Lappi is fastest as Tyre Tactics shape Chile showdown. Shakedown, sorry. But there will hopefully be a showdown, especially come Sunday. Let's hope Sunday's exciting. Saturday's going to be exciting. Let's hope the whole rally is exciting for obvious reasons. So, here we go then. Lappi fastest as the Shakedown Chile. So it hasn't really begun, as we know, but as from the WRC website, we know this strategy is already very much in play. Tyre management was the phrase on everyone's lips, it says, as the drivers competed just the slightly shy of 7 kilometres, the 6.79 kilometres warm-up test. Each crew had an allocation of 28 soft and 8 hard compound Pirelli tyres for this 3-day event. Now, the shakedown selections included in this tally, and as a result, many front runners opted for what was a very conservative approach, saving rubber for the challenging days ahead. So this shakedown, arguably, means even less than the others do. Now, degradation for the tyres is going to be a major talking point. Was a major talking point in last year's edition. Toyota was suffering costly blowouts, and that was for 3 of its cars. Now, they don't want to do it here because it really much, the slim chances of those of that championship is really going to slip away. And this time around, the big focus is on Saturday's leg, the longest of the weekend, where we're going to have nearly 140 kilometres. Now, Lappi showed little hesitation, clocking the fastest shakedown time in the final run. The Finn, who crashed his Hyundai on the opening stage here last year, outpaced, no, it wasn't a regular rally runner, and it wasn't even a hybrid, as you can see here. He outpaced Martin Sesks by 5.6 seconds, but yeah, that was not too bad. Sami Pajari rounded up the top 3, and Pira secured 4th ahead of Tanak and Elvin Evans, with the championship leader finishing a comfortable 2nd, not taking any risks. I'm looking forward to this rally also, said Neuville. Friday stages look amazing. It won't be easy, and the grip changes are massive, but we know what we have to do. Gregor Monza brought his Puma home in 8th, followed by WRC2 pacesetter Grayson and 8-time WRC champion Ogier, who was very steady, let's say, in the opening running. Hint, maybe in a bit of trouble with his Toyota, but he said all good and nothing special. Now, and it's this bit here that Ogier talked about that I would very much like to talk about here. A post on here by Rally UK, which I thought was quite interesting. And they've put, so this is in relation to Ogier. Can I zoom in a bit more? Yeah. So they've put, they titled it Gagged, and they put below is the full transcript of Sebastian Ogier's 7-word stop line interview on the Shakedown of Rally Chile this morning. So we got good old Molly. She said, "Seb, good morning. Back off there towards the end of the stage. What's going on?" He said, "All good." She said, "You sure?" Ogier replied, "Yeah, I'm sure." And she put, "You're a little down on the time, obviously. What's that about?" He said, "Nothing special." That was the end of the conversation. Now, the Rally UK have put, and I completely agree with them, part of the service. As subscribers to Rally TV, we pay for a service. Yes, we do. I think it's in the UK, what is it, $12.99 a month, which is not cheap. Bear in mind, if you were to get the equivalent F1, I know we can't in Sky, it would be about a tenner. But anyway, part of that service is the promise to hear what drivers have to say in the heat of the moment at the stop line. about their performance, the car's performance, and the prevailing conditions. Unfortunately, as demonstrated this morning, we are now receiving a censored version of this promise. Ogier is effectively being gagged, prevented from giving us his honest view. He's been silenced by the threat of being of a suspended €30,000 fine, discouraging him from expressing what he truly thinks, a threat hanging over his head for the next 2 years. WRC needs more characters than ever. Absolutely they do. And it says we need to hear the views of these characters, good and bad. They are professionals after all. Silencing drivers, especially goats like Ogier, could arguably be seen as bringing the sport into disrepute in itself. If the rules have been broken, then fine the transgressor, but stop punishing the rest of us for the next 2 years. WRC does not need this censorial nonsense. Someone needs to step in, sort it out. Similar to what happened in Formula One with the FIA also saying no swearing. Max Verstappen swore, and then he had very much one word, but then promised his own press conference, which they did. So what on earth is the FIA doing? This is from the 9th of September, a Dirtfish article. The disgraceful precedent set by Ogier's Acropolis line. Steward's decision put heat of the moment stage and interviews at risk. So it goes on to saying, I'm no free speech warrior. I don't buy into the nonsense that we should be free to say literally anything. Deliberately vile, racist, sexist, homophobic language. Absolutely, completely agree with that. But then they said, but the suspended £30,000 fine handed to Seb Ogier for daring to suggest the Acropolis race rally organisers had not used their brains when they left inadequate gap between cars to let the dust settle was an abhorrent overreach of censorship. No, there's a very good argument. He was stating facts. And let's be fair, when it comes to dust, driving in the dust and driving on rally, there's a very good argument that he's going to be much more of an expert than the actual rally organisers themselves. Now, even Rich team principal Richard Milner was aghast as he responded on social media to Dirtfish's initial report of the penalty. It was an especially strong statement considering the same story he'd highlighted mentioned his own team receiving a fine for an unrelated rules infringement. He said, generally no words about this decision, he reacted. Take that what you wish. That how you wish. Naturally, as a key stakeholder, Milner needs to tread very carefully. Luckily, I don't have quite the same constraints. And he said there's an edge of irony to this one. Ogier spoke emotion at the top of SS1 while delivering comments that dropped him in hot water, but the rulebook cares not for emotion. And they've got here Article 12.2.1 F. The FIA International Sporting Code has been enforced once before in the WRC when Mads Ostberg ran his mouth after picking up a puncture during the stage 18 of the Rally Italy Sardinia in 2021. The deflation cost him 22.6 seconds to eventual WRC2 winner Jari Huitinen, and he lost the rally by 7.5. He said, I'm so effing annoyed, all these things happening all the time, Osberg said at the finish line, having screamed his head off in the cockpit and punched the steering wheel repeatedly immediately after crossing the finish. I'm not saying it's wise, but I think a lot of us can understand. These effing tyres, I touch nothing, straight away I have a puncture, effing hell, I'm so effing tired. That cost him £1,000. Far more galling. And far more galling, a suspended 25-point deduction from the WRC2 account, for the WRC2 points account. I mean, what on earth? What is going on here? This, by comparison, is what offended the stewards when he said it was so profoundly when the 8-time world champion Ogier said, it is annoying to see that the sport never learns. We ask, we know that we are going to have dust. There is hanging dust. Oh, they say no. What do you have in your head? Nothing. It's crazy. There was no swearing, no tirade. Just a pointed comment and arguably a fact. Ogier's first stage comment about dust is not even the most objectionable comment he's made this year. Suggesting that Terry Neuville cried all the time. I did laugh at that. Yes, it was a bit of gamesmanship. About road sweeping was controversial and more importantly premeditated. Even though that was, it made for a bit of fun. But the steward's decision sets, in my view, is a highly concerning precedent. Suppose drivers must worry about being fined ludicrous sums of money. A media's own interview and a staged interview cannot be treated the same. They are two wildly different environments. They absolutely are. It's when the guy finishes the rally. And it's a luxury to be able to hear that. I get frustrated when we don't. Even some of the WRC2 runners on Rally TV, which a lot of us pay, I think, a premium to watch it. It's $12.99 a month. That's not cheap when you think of things like Netflix as a similar amount. Yes, it's not like, but there's a lot more content on Netflix. The F1 is the equivalent of about £10. However, they, well, no, you know, they have equally a lot of content on there, and a lot of historical content. So does Rally TV. It used to be called Rally Plus, didn't it? But yeah, I completely agree with the Dirtfish article. Just like in F1 Swearwords, what are the FIA thinking? It's absolutely ridiculous. They are the ones. It's not the drivers. It's the FIA, the ones that look like a joke. They absolutely look like a bit of a joke. And it's the drivers and everyone, I think, that are getting a lot of the support. Now, I do agree, you shouldn't really be swearing in press conferences and like official interviews after the rally. But then the other concern is if you're not allowed to criticise the organisers, I mean, what kind of like fascist state are they living in terms of you know? And I'm talking about the FIA, you know, free speech. You can't. You have to censor drivers to a point, but not that when Ogier is saying something about the dust. It's why get so cross, and a £30,000 fine. It was quite funny. Then obviously he's protesting like Max in terms of not wanting to give, you know, further things in the interview. Almost 7 words, wasn't it? 7 words for his interview there. It's absolutely silly. The FIA should hang their heads in shame. I understand where they're coming from initially, but rein it back a bit, for goodness sake. They really are potentially damaging the sport. And rally at the moment, the current condition that the WRC is in, with even maybe high, you know, with really stupid points at the moment. Let's be honest, they are really silly. And yeah, the silly Sundays, a tiny championship between essentially, you know, 6 drivers. Let's be honest. They need all the help they can get, and this is very much not helping. So if you made it to the end, please give us a subscribe. That would be absolutely fantastic. If you don't agree with my rant, comment below, let me know what you think, and we will speak to you soon. Stay safe. See ya.